A very good evening, my dear Silent Rose family. For our reflection today, a very beautiful Bible verse came into my mind. This is from John chapter 15, verses 1 to 5, where Jesus says these beautiful words: I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine grower. He removes every branch in me that bears no fruit. Every branch that bears fruit, he prunes to make it bear more fruit. You have already been cleansed by the word that I have spoken to you. Abide in me as I abide in you. And those who abide in me and I in them bear much fruit, because apart from me you can do nothing. How beautiful are these words, right? These words specifically show us how much of an intimate relationship Jesus wants to have with us. Jesus is saying, as long as we abide in Him and He abides in us, then that's all that's needed. His point is that we as branches of that vine should not separate ourselves from Jesus the vine Himself. Because without Him, our life will not bear fruit. In the recent National Eucharistic Congress that happened in the United States in the past year, Father Mike Schmitz had given a beautiful keynote speech about the beauty behind the Eucharist, and a beautiful statement that he made in that keynote speech was this: every sin is an attempt to be happy without God. We see this in the Garden of Eden, right? Before the original sin happened, Adam and Eve were in a beautiful communion and relationship with God. So much so that it was like most of their waking moments they used to spend it in God's presence. But when Eve defied the one important rule that God had given, she fell for the deception that she could be happy without God. Or the devil had planted in her heart the doubt that maybe God was holding out on her. And so she had to take this step without God's knowledge to ensure her happiness. And so the point there, dear friends, is do not separate yourself from God. Because as that beautiful verse from the Gospel of John says, we are His many branches, and our sustenance comes from the Lord Himself. And so there is no happiness that can be found without Him. And another beautiful thing that this verse points out is the importance of pruning. I'm sure many of y'all do a little bit of gardening at least, but for those of y'all who don't, pruning is the process by which we remove the unhealthy parts of the plant so that the healthy parts of the plant can thrive and flourish and grow well. And so many times, God as the vine grower needs to do a lot of spiritual pruning in us so that we may grow more abundantly in our virtues and we may let go of our vices. And so, dear friends, this season of Lent, as we go through our days of fasting and abstinence, there is a big reminder for us for the big need of a spiritual pruning. Not so that you go back to your unhealthy habits at the end of the 40 or 50 days, but that you will become a changed person in the virtues that you are working to build over these days of fasting and abstinence. And so, dear friends, remember, abide in Jesus as He abides in you. Have a blessed evening, dear friends. God bless.